Yo, what up guys, Tuna here. This video is going to be showing an update to all of the changes that I've made to my build this league with the new items, as well as the new things that we have learned and all of that kind of stuff. So the first thing you might ask yourself is, you have a build guide out on Maxroll. Which one should I, is this better or is that better? So the build guide was written with all of the knowledge that we had previously, and it is a great build. It's set up to basically do everything in the game and blast. However, of course, me playing the build, I like to experiment. I like to try new things and whatever. So if you have already a great way to scale it into endgame with the build guide, but this video is sort of intended for anybody who's looking to maybe try out new things or abuse some of the new broken items and that sort of stuff. So yeah, this is for you boys, and it's going to be a lot less instructive, and it's not information that I'm really going to be putting into the guide itself. It rather sort of more of like me theory crafting as I go along, as well as like collecting information from the community, my chat, other streamers, all that kind of stuff, right? So it's just a collection of the changes that I've made detailed here in this video. So enough about all that. Let me start with this. Runegraft of Treachery is insane. This allows us to not need Enlighten level 3 anymore. Enlighten level 3 was necessary in order to get both Herald of Ash and Herald of Purity, as well as a 5-linked auto-exert setup. As you can see here, I have Punishment, Battle Mage's Cry, Auto-Exertion, Seismic Cry, and Intimidating Cry, and it's in a 5-link, and I get to save a socket. But it doesn't only do that, because it actually provides much more. When you use it in combination with your Mana Mastery here, you have even more mana. So that allows you to get another auto-exert setup, which I use on my Infernal Cry. Now, Infernal Cry actually gives you a ton of damage when you cast it yourself. It's better overall to just cast it yourself, because you will be getting about like 6 or 7% more damage just from that. But if you're lazy and you just want to click one less button, you can absolutely put that in auto exert there once you have this setup. And so I have, auto exert, Infernal Cry, and Mana Leech. Of course, like Herald of Purity is just sitting here because I needed a socket. But then what I am clicking myself is going to be Rallying Cry and Urgent Order, because Rallying Cry actually just gives us the most damage, because it gives it's the thing that 5% more damage per ally, and when we have our Purity Sentinels out as well as our Mercenary, that's going to be like, at least 15% damage from just that. It's pretty good. Like that's by far the better war cry to self-cast yourself. So that's why I have that link to Urgent Order, and I still got that here. There's going to be a ton of damage. Another change that I made, of course, and this is the biggest one. This is going to be basically like the big elephant in the room type of change, is the Enmity's Embrace, the new ring. This thing is completely broken. It is so broken. Like it's so much damage. It is probably one of the most broken items they've ever introduced into the game. You might think that like, oh, it was nerfed before it launched and it's kind of cheap at the moment, but I think most people just haven't caught on. It's really, really, really strong. You want to get as close to as 65% roll as possible to reduce fire resistance, because this will exponentially increase the amount of resistance that you need in order to like get the most benefit out of it. So 65 is possible. It's going to be fairly expensive regarding on if this video blows up the price or whatever else, right? Like it always happens where like I release a video, price goes up, people hate me, but then like a few days later it goes back down. So yeah, don't panic. So yeah, 65% is possible. And then you might ask yourself, like, how do you pump your fire res then? It's quite easy actually, like to pump your fire res. Because I am using Enmities, I am also benefiting hard from fire res clusters. This is the first time ever you'll ever see anybody use fire res clusters. This cluster is crazy, man. It gives 27, 27, and 27, but this cluster is even crazier. It gives 32, 32, 32. Bro, 90 reds from one cluster and like a 90 from the other one as well. And then what you could do is you could just put fire res on all your suffixes as well, as many as possible, to keep pumping that higher and higher and higher. Now I think like, how do you fix the rest of your res? There's two ways to do it. Now one way is the damage greedy way, which I ended up going, and the other way is like the normal way, which would be, the normal way would be to get a Light of Meaning with chaos resistance instead of fire damage. or physical damage. Both of them are fine. But it's to get a Light of Meaning with Chaos Resistance. What that allows you to do is that allows you to take off all of your Chaos Res suffixes from your gear. And instead of having Chaos Res suffixes, now you can have like Lightning, Cold, Resistance, as well as Fire. The second way that I ended up going is I ended up going for a Light of Meaning with fire damage and using Thessalio's Cleansing Water. But I have to be honest with you guys, I think this is way less optimal than if I was to get like an actual good Forbidden Flesh and Flame. Like a tanky Jug one or something like that, like action speed or like armor applies to chaos, all that kind of stuff. Like there's really amazing Forbidden Flesh and Flames you can get. And use a Light of Meaning with Chaos Res and just fix my res. Because if you look here, like, I'm not so insanely off res cap, right? When I take this off, it's not crazy. Like, if you were to take off all of the Chaos Res suffixes from my gear and replace those with actual resistances, I would, for the most part, be capped. Like, it's not a problem to cap. And you also do have, of course, access to another 15 all res here. So it's really not that bad to cap without Thessalio's Cleansing Waters. You will get a shit ton of damage from it regardless. I am currently at the point where I have over 211 capped fire res. So if you were to take this number, right, like if I was to look at 77, I'd rather do it the other way actually. I'm not good with calculators, as you guys know. 211 minus 77. At the moment, without flasks active, I'm getting 134 penetration for my ring. That's like double damage, man. That's actual double damage. And not only that, is I also have elemental flasks, and when I click them at 232, this is going to be like while I'm mapping, right? So, but yeah, you can get like another 20 to that or whatever. So we're going to be getting like the 200 fire pen once we get Mage Blood, right? That's crazy. Or if we get a Headhunter as well, like you're going to get those Headhunter auras with 200 fire pen. Like penetration is insane because it works amazingly with the map modifiers that roll. Like if you ever roll like elemental resistance and you have top hat, bro, that shit goes to like 100, right? But this turns the mobs into butter. Like it doesn't care about that stuff. Like you penetrate that, you're gonna be fine. But this ring works amazingly for anybody that's looking to like push endgame juice and do all that kind of stuff. It also introduces some pretty cool stuff because that also means that reflected jewelry is insane, right? Like, I don't have a reflected jewelry here, but I have like a ruby ring with chaos res and stuff and all res. It's not amazing, it's pretty good, but it gives a ton of fire res and stuff. And I also have this amulet, which like I ended up buying. Like it looks like complete garbage, right? But 200 fire res, 200 life, 100 fire res, and a little bit of fire damage to attacks. That's like a lot of damage that I get from this. If I was to actually, it actually breaks my gear, so I can't really check. How much res is that? Like, how much is 100 fire res reduced by 65? I don't know. You guys do the math, but it's fucking crazy, right? Like, every item slot becomes a DPS slot if it has fire res on it. And that's what I like about this ring. I think it's a cool way to like scale it. And eventually also, of course, like if you do get to the point where you have a Purity of Fire Sublime Vision, you're gonna like really double dip on that fire res, right? Emperor by War is sort of gonna fix that. So yeah, I'm at a crossroad right now. I can't really decide whether I want to be going for the helmet. I've always forget the name, man. That helmet is the bane of my existence, bro. Celestial this one, Echoes of Creation. I actually had to look that up. There's a little bit of time there. I had to open my pub. I mean, like, if you guys look in the pub, like, Echoes of Creation is, the endgame setup, like, Echoes of Creation is giving, like, straight up 100 damage, right? Like, 70 damage, 70% more damage. But you guys know that there is a new, or maybe you don't know. I say you guys know, but, like, well, I assume you're all really smart anyways. Critical damage Warcry. Critical Warcry. That's the one. Skills have increased critical strike per Warcry exerting them. So Pop Gun is introduced, like he has like popularized this. It's completely broken, by the way. It's completely broken. It's so strong. So this allows us to basically go for crit with basically having no base crit from any other source, because we have so many Warcries exerting. We are going to be getting like 20 base crit from this alone. And then you don't need all that much percent increase to get to 100%. We have power charges because of mob mentality already on our cluster. So that's going to be 150% increase. It means that you really don't need that much to reach crit cap with this helmet. It is going to be, with investment, a lot more than 70% more damage. But the question is that 70% more damage actually more damage when in endgame scenarios like farming maps and that kind of stuff? And I think there's an argument for and against Echoes of Creation, and there's an argument for and against crit. The argument for Echoes of Creation is that it enables Divine Shield, right? As you guys see here in my POB, I have Corrupted Soul, which gives me Energy Shield, and Divine Shield, meaning you have like a 1000 Energy Shield that keeps topping itself up constantly. It's basically like having like a permanent 1000 extra life, you know, which is nice. It's like 20% or like 10% extra life. It's really insane. But on the other hand, when you run a map with less defenses, you take a lot of damage from the helmet, and mitigating that is not easy, right? Like a less defense map lowers your armor by a shit ton, and if the armor is low, the piss damage you take is like unmanageable, and you can have situations where you just end up dying because of it, right? It just sucks. Echoes of Creation in those situations really sucks. That's why you need a lot of armor and you need a lot of PDR. Like, I don't recommend people swap to Echoes of Creation until they have physical damage reduction on their body armor and a full body armor craft already. That's the argument for and against Echoes of Creation. One is for is it does a complete shit ton of damage, and against is that it has troubles running that map mod. But this is a similar thing that we have here with crit as well. So crit, you get a full helmet back. You can craft like a pretty insane helmet. That's really nice. And on top of that, you of course get like a shit ton more damage, like also like pretty much double damage. There is a map mod that is reduced damage from crits, meaning you are also gonna be coming against the fact that there is gonna be a map mod that reduces your damage by an absolute shit ton. In my mind, I feel like both ways are great. Echoes of Creation makes weapon crafting easier because you don't have to worry about accuracy whatsoever, since you can very easily just go here and click Resolute Technique and fix your accuracy. Whereas if you're going crit, you actually have to go for at least 2 accuracy rolls on your gear, as well as a % accuracy cluster on the skill tree itself. Budgeting those points is like, bro, that's really expensive. That's a lot of points, right? You can on average get like, you know, like 2 or 3% damage per point. So if you were to spend like an extra like 7 points, that's going to be like 21 damage that you just lost to having to get accuracy, right? The alternative is to have hits can't be evaded craft on your weapon, which is also going to lose you a bit of damage because you lose hybrid, because you have to go for % and flat on your weapon instead. So the answer here is not quite as black and white as at least I think. There's arguments for and against both. I think Echoes of Creation is still a very, very, very good option. It's amazing. But I also do think that this is a very, very cool option. And it's also like a new option and a more enticing option. So this is kind of like spoilers, but I think I'm going to be going for crit because it's new and it's fun. And I think it should be kind of fun to use this helmet and build around it. But yeah, that pretty much sums up the update on how my build is and how it works. Now I'm going to be giving you a little bit more insight on what my tree looks like. I'm going to be doing a POB export of my current character. However, like, of course, keep in mind, there's a lot of inefficiencies. Like, my belt sucks. It has strength on it. I don't need that strength. I want Warcries cannot exert movement abilities, since I don't have enough points right now to have both Warcry clusters. At the moment, I just don't have Warcries cannot exert travel skills, and it kind of sucks. I'm losing a lot of damage to exerting my Leap Slam, but you gotta make do with what you have. And unfortunately, this is what I have. And the rest of my gear is pretty bog standard. I ended up getting 35 conversion implicit on the gloves, because you can actually just get 30 on this, by the way, because I am now also using Glorious Vanity, but with Immortal Ambition. Since I'm not yet using Echoes of Creation, Divine Flesh would do nothing, right? But Immortal Ambition gives me Overleech, which is really nice. You know, shout out to FaZe for that one. So yeah, Immortal Ambition is pretty good. And in here, Flesh to Flame, I got like increased fire damage with 10% conversion to fire. So that basically fixes my conversion there, because we need a total of 40. And then on the small nodes, you can get some cool shit like Chaos Res, right? Here I got Max Life. fire resistance, which as we know, with enmity, fire res is really good, and then some other stuff. But yeah, so fire res, chaos res, life, fire res, some good stuff. And you can look for those in the POB. Like if you were to open up the POB, you here at the very bottom, find timeless jewel. It's right under my camera. Like there's a button called find timeless jewel, and it pops this up. Glorious vanity, and you want to make absolutely sure that you're selecting the correct one. So in my case, it's immortal ambition. And then this is the slot where it is. Filter nodes. You have to click this, otherwise it's going to look at all the nodes within the circle. And here you type like fire resistance and like conversion, right? Conversion. We definitely want one with the notable. Like it needs to have the notable, right? So yeah, you're gonna be like looking around to figure out which one has the notable. I'm gonna put it in the correct slot. It's in the correct slot, but like for example, like I can click this, which I deticked earlier. But yeah, you can click that, and then you can find the timeless jewel. Search. Okay, there we go. So yeah, you can see that it has fire conversion on tribal fury, and you ask yourself like, why are you doing it on tribal fury instead of this cluster or that cluster or this cluster? There's two good alternatives here, I think, and it's either you get it on the fire cluster because it has this mastery with 100% increased, which is 12% more damage, an absolute shit ton of damage, or you put it on the attack cluster here, and you do monsters cannot block your attacks, which is a very prevalent mod in T17s as well as the new T16.5 maps. So that's what I opted in for because I just want to run as many map mods as possible. Yeah, monsters cannot block attacks. I'm going to be looking for one with conversion there. Unfortunately, you can't get that anywhere else. Like, there's no other attack cluster in the radius, but yeah. So either go for the fire one, ideally, or the attack one. The sword one kind of sucks. It's just frenzy sustain on single target. We don't need that. The axe one is pretty good, though, because you get, like, enemies killed by your hits are destroyed, so that's pretty good. But I think this one is just better because it allows me to run more map mods. More map mods I can ignore, the better the build IMO. Yeah, you do that. Find timeless cluster, and then we're gonna put that one in game, or not in game, but in pub. And you can see here now I have a cluster that has conversion and a bunch of other stuff, which is actually the cluster I ended up getting, so that's kind of nice. And yeah, that about sums up all of the big changes that I made to my build, and it's intended to give you guys a little bit of an update on how it looks, how it performs, and that sort of stuff. At the moment, I'm just giga farming these new T16.5 maps, and I'm printing, bro. I'm printing. I'm making so many T8 maps, like 8 mod maps, as well as I'm self-sustaining these from the farm itself, and I'm getting a ton of T17s as well. Like I've been getting, like, my best is like 3 T17s in one map, so like you really print maps and you make a lot of currency. And I think that's also why like people are catching on. The price of this is going down, and also because the price of the helmet is going down, which, can you believe it? I actually forgot it. Echoes of Creation. Why is that, bro? Why is that helmet so hard to remember? But yeah, I hope this video was at least a little bit interesting. Maybe you like hearing me ramble about the build. There's no wrong way to build this build at this point. I think Phase's build is amazing. Fubgun's build is amazing. We're all kind of just like doing a little bit different things, and I think it's great for you guys because you get to look at all 3 builds and sort of look at the differences, pick and choose, make small adjustments here and there, and decide which one is better, which one is worse, or whatever else, right? It doesn't matter. Like, but you guys tend to tell me when you think my build is worse, so, you know, don't... No, either way, I really appreciate you guys, and I really appreciate everybody in the community pushing the science forward, as well as all the creators that are like improving this build, because it's a lot of fun, and I think everybody deserves to have fun in this game because it's a fucking beautiful game. Best game ever made, by the way. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you soon. Oh, by the way, I'm streaming on YouTube and Twitch every day. Come say hello. Peace.